today I want us to learn to ask and respond to different questions. So different question structures. So by the end of this particular week, you should be able to ask and respond to questions like yes or no questions, WH questions, follow-up questions, seek clarifications, and on and on. And just as we've been doing with the previous weeks, we are going to do all that using dialogues. Let's get into it. So for dialogue 1, this is between Ama and Eno. So Eno is a shop owner and Ama goes to Eno to try and buy something. So let's see what ensues between them. So Ama says, Mame, machiu. Mame, machiu. So Mame is mom. And then we have machi. We said machi is good morning, the short form. I told you the long form is memao achi. So you can use any. But I told you this is more common. And if you use the long form, then you should be mindful of the pronouns. So depending on the number of people that you are greeting, you may have to change wo to mo. That is if you are greeting more than a single person. And if you are greeting on behalf of yourself and other people, then you may have to change this to ye. So Ama says, Mame, machiu. And then Eno responds to that with ya meba. Ya meba. So meba is my daughter or my son. So my child, right? Because Ama is young enough to be Eno's child. And then Ama says, Mepachel, we ye dien. Mepachel, we ye dien. So we have mepachel, which we learned as please, right? We said the long form of this is mepachel, please. We ye dien. So we is this. We looked at this in the first week. So we have we as this. Ye is your to be verb. And we have dien. And dien is our first question word. Dien or a dien means what? The question word what? So when Ama asks where ye dien, she's literally asking this is what? So this is how you ask what is this? All right. So when you point at something and you want to ask what that thing is, you say, oh, where ye dien? What is this? All right. Using the question word dien, what? So Eno responds to that with eye pano. Eye pano. So when someone asks, where ye dien, what is this? In response, you say eye, it is, and then you add what it is to that. All right. So whatever it is, you add it to eye. It is. So we have it here, and then we have is, the to be verb. So in this case, Eno says eye pano. Eye pano. So we have pano as bread. So again, whatever that thing is, you just add it to eye, and then you have it. So if it's, say, a pair of shoes, you say eye mpabwa. Eye mpabwa. Eye eduane. It's food. Eye atadie. Eye atadie. It's a shirt or a dress. So Ama asks, eye saying. Eye saying, and this is our second question word. So the first one was dien, what? And then we have saying, and saying can mean how, or how much, or how many, depending on where you find it. So for this context, for example, we are talking about price because Ama is asking for product in a shop. So saying here is how much. So when you ask a saying, you are asking it is how much. So literally, it is how much. So a saying, how much is it? But the context needs to be established. So for example, in this case, the context is within the market, right? So it's at a shop where a potential customer is asking about a product. So when you ask a saying, definitely that would mean how much is it? But if the context is not established and you actually want the person to know that you are asking for the price, then you can bring nebo. The bo is from a bo, which is price. So when you say nebo, you are saying its price. So this is the possessive adjective. Nebo, its price, you're saying is how much. So to this, Eno responds with eye sidi aduonu. Eye sidi aduonu. So when you ask something that the response to that begins with it is, right? It is, then you have eye, right? I told you the here is it. Then we have ye, which is the to be verb. So eye sidi aduonu. So we have cedi, which is, cedi, the Ghana cedi, Ghana's currency. Okay. So cedi aduonu. Aduonu is 20, right? The number 20. So we have du, which is 10. We have aduonu. Let's do that. So we have edu. We have aduonu, 20. So edu is 10, right? Aduonu, 20. We have aduasa, 30. We have aduanan, 40. We have aduonu, 50. We have aduosia, 60. We have aduoson, 70. We have aduowɔtwe, 80. We have aduokron, 90. And then we have oha as 100. So cedi aduonu, it is 20 cedis. So if it were, say, 60 cedis, this would have been cedi aduosia. Now, one thing that I mentioned very lightly in one of our past weeks is that Ghanaians like to turn your answer, your response to questions, into questions in themselves back at you. And I noticed that they do that for two reasons. So they do that to clarify that the answer you gave is exactly what you meant and that is exactly what they heard. That is one. But sometimes they also use that to sort of think of the next question to ask or the next statement to make. So from the time you respond to the time that they go with their next question or their next statement, they use your response as some sort of a filler question to try and buy time for the next one. So you need to pay attention to that. And for those questions, they are mainly yes or no questions. So what you said, they repeat it back at you, but in a question form, and they expect you to say yes if that is exactly what you said, or no, and then clarify with what you meant or what you had actually said. So this is a clear example of that. So Amma had asked a saying, or Nebuwe is saying, how much is it? How much is the price? Eno responded to that with eye cedi aduonu. It is 20 cedis. So that is the response. That is the answer. But Amma goes on to use that response, the cedi aduonu, as a question. So she asks, cedi aduonu. Cedi aduonu. And pay attention to the tone of this. When we turn statements into questions, the tone at the end are typically raised. So the tone towards the end are typically raised and a bit lengthened. So unlike the statement, so let's use just this part as a statement. So someone said cedi aduonu, right? Cedi aduonu, 20 cedis. Listen to how that sounds. Cedi aduonu, cedi aduonu, 20 cedis. Now, if I want to turn this same, cedi aduonu into a question, I ask cedi aduonu. Cedi aduonu. So you can tell that the tone is higher. And this is similar to how you have it in English. So in English, if you say 20 cedis, right? 20 cedis, and you want to turn that into a question, you say 20 cedis, right? 20 cedis. So it's similar here. It's even clearer if you add ana to it. So let's say you are not getting the tone at this point. If you add ana, then we know you are asking a question. So if you attach ana to a statement, you turn that statement into a question, which is mainly a yes or no question. So for example, I can say wada, right? Wada, and that is a statement meaning you've slept. So we have you've slept, wada, wada. So listen to the tone, wada. I can use that same expression to ask a question just by varying the tone. So instead of wada, wada, I'll ask wada, 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 okay? Wada. So it's the same thing, but the tone, it's higher, especially towards the end, and a bit lengthened. So this one becomes you've slept. Ask a question. Again, if you don't get the tone right at this point, you can just add ana to it. So you say, wada na, And once you bring ana at the end, you're trying to confirm if the statement is correct. Eno says, me pacho ane. Yes, please. And then Ama comes in and says, you. Okay.